Good morning, everybody. We're gonna now mow all this sorghum Sudan right here. Not too much, so shouldn't take too long. Key on there. Let's go back and I'll show you around this mower here. This is a flail mower. This is an older style of mower, like pretty old. Nowadays, most mowers are disc mowers, and they just have discs that spin around. But this has little flails on it. They spin towards us, and then they come down and slice the hay off. I'm gonna need to set this down a little bit. I just kind of set it last night. Set it there, see how that's gonna fare for us. Since this is a flail mower, you can also ted hay with it. It's not just a mower, you can also go around and then ted with it. Alright, let's try that. Yeah, it looks a little bit better. Yeah, we'll try that here first. I might have to set it down another notch, but alrighty, well, I'll climb up in the tractor here and we'll get going. So I already set the mower out last night. Sorry you couldn't see this light. These lights on this tractor are very questionable. They're good when they work, not so good when they don't work. So I already pulled the mower off to the side there. It slides over to this pin for transport, or this hole I mean for transport, and then you got two field modes. You got this one and then obviously the one it's in now. So all right, we'll climb up there and let's get you rolling. What kind of job this is doing. Back here looks to be okay. This sorghum Sudan this time around isn't very thick, so it's not making all that much, but it seems to. I'm bumped it up a little bit because if I run it all the way on the ground, it'll run into the ground over here, because we worked this obviously, as you saw, in July. Right beside the cornfield. It got shelled. Doesn't matter if there's cobs in it or not. Yeah, I think this is doing pretty good for us. We'll back up here. I slowed down so it didn't chop all this up. So we'll back up here and get going again, I guess. But first, we'll stop and look at and see, well, we're here right now, but what the head, our old header, looks like. I mean, I'm sure running it up on the rocks didn't really help anything on the stone, but that ain't supposed to look like that. The whole bottom piece came almost, in the ends, I see, came detached, and it's completely come off the, it did it right there too, and yeah, starting to come off right here too, completely starting to fall apart. And that pan is almost shot right there, probably pretty thin. This head we've been waiting for it to do this for a long time. The gentleman who owned it before us, he only cut beans. Like, he didn't even have a corn head. He only cut beans for a long time. So that's why this head is so beat up. But yeah, because it's seen so many acres. So yeah, all right. Now we'll go home and eat some lunch and head on over to see what Tim's up to. Getting a little low on oil there. Should run today, but I'm gonna have to check that here after a while. We don't got a leak somewhere. Made it. No breakdowns or anything. But some elevator somewhere must be full of wet corn right now, or closed today, because there's this semi in front of me, the semi in front of him, and then the semi behind me, and another semi that I saw just in this round. I have no clue who they are. Never seen them before. I know who this guy, I've seen this guy around here before, and there's that blue semi up there, and then Graber's is over there. My mom's family. But other than that, I have seen nobody that I know. So yeah, somebody must be closed somewhere, and as you can see here, we're starting to get double stacked here. This one truck, but that means we're getting there. Yeah, somebody must be closed because everybody's coming here. So yeah, and they're filling these what used to be soybean bins. They're making these a wet bin, at least number 4 or 5 down there. The last big one, and that truck coming on the scale, I don't know who they are either. But yeah, they must be making at least 1 or 2 of these bins wet bins, which has never ever happened before. So yeah, we'll just grind through it. I got some cookies, I got my Coke. We're set to be here for a little while. I'll probably be in here for a good 60 or 70 minutes, somewhere in there. So yeah, I'll stay here and bear the pain. You guys can just sit there and wait for the next clip. You don't have to bear the pain. Just to show you how history has progressed. In the 70s, if you had a straight truck, not even a hopper bottom, a straight truck, a straight trailer, I should say, not a straight truck. A straight truck would be a grain truck. But if you had a straight trailer, you were huge, and you'd be like I am. I'm the only set of wagons here at the moment. But if in the 70s, if you had a straight truck, you'd be the only straight truck in the elevator. And like this place would be packed full of wagons, tractors and wagons, and maybe a little 200 bushel grain truck here and there, 300 bushel grain truck here and there. But yeah, I wish I was alive in the 70s, and that way I could see that, because that would be really cool to see this place packed with wagons and grain trucks. For those of you that don't know, a leg, inside of a leg, we'll use the one over there by the small dump right there, that one right there. So there's one side, this side here. Each side has little buckets in it. That leg's probably 8-inch buckets maybe. So it'd be about, I can't really, that big, if you can tell how big that is, how long that is. There are little buckets in there on a belt, and they go down, they scoop the grain, take it up to the top. I'll flip my hand over, take it up to the top. When they get to the top of the leg, they flip over real fast as they go around the corner, and they flip over and throw the grain out of their bucket, and then they go back down the other side and keep doing that. And then when they flip the grain out, it goes into a distributor, and the distributor has a, I don't know what you call it, it has a pipe that moves to different holes, to different pipes or conveyors, whatever, and it flips it down through that distributor pipe. I'm sure there's a name for it, but I'm not really sure the name. And it goes into the different pipe, and if you want to change bins, you change the distributor, you pivot it different way and then different way, whichever pipe you want, which goes to a different bin. So yeah, that's how grain legs work. So yeah, I'm not doing much. That's why I talk so much when I'm in here in line, because I'm not doing too awful lot right now. Alright, I'll catch you next here. Alright, so we're back over at the field. It did take me right at 70 minutes to get through there. So like, yeah, as you can see, we're back in the field. I'm gonna grab my two-way radio out of the Ranger here, and we'll go run the combine. Tim, obviously I'm 15, so I don't have my license yet. So I can't, I mean, I probably could. We're in rural Indiana, and rural farmer in Indiana, that's, nobody's really gonna care. But he takes it, Tim takes a Chevy in, the grain truck, Chevy C65 grain truck, and so however it falls, I usually get to run the combine just for a little bit while he takes that in. But there's only 3 passes. There's a partial dump and then 3 passes on this land, that land right there, that corn. And so I'm gonna shell the rest of that and dump on the orange wagons and then take those in, and then I'll take those in and come back, and then I'll grab the red wagons and hopefully get those in before 8 o'clock. So, well, let's go shell some corn here. We're over a little bit too far. too close to each other right there, like about that far when they're spinning towards each other. And they grab the stalk and pull the stalk down through the head, and then there's neck plates, which are a little bit wider. They're like about that far apart-ish. And then when the snapping rolls drop the stalk down through there, the neck plates stop, like they obviously the corn cob can't fit through the neck plate, so it breaks the cob off of the stalk, and the stalk keeps going straight on down to the ground. Sometimes obviously it breaks the stalk off, the stalk's pretty dry, and it takes it to the machine, but the machine is only processing the cob. Obviously, like I said, at the end you can see there's stalks going, full clamps going through there, but the way it's supposed to work is, what I just did. So right now we're doing 280 bushels, and it's been pretty good. And then I forgot to say something. There's gathering chains that spin along, and they grind it on top of the neck plates. And when the cob comes off the stalk, they just grab the cob and bring it up towards the auger, which takes it to the feeder house, which obviously takes it to the rotor and stuff like that. So on down to the machine. Alright, so our full light is on. Most of the newer combines tell you that they're 100% full, 80% full, 90% full, whatever. When that light comes on, you're 100% full. And by the time you stop going, you're probably going to be 101% full. At least with corn. With beans, you can get a little bit more in there, but corn, no, you better stop. And I'm probably going to lose some over the side, and probably over the front and over the back maybe, by the time I get back up to the other end here. So here, I'll show you what it looks like when that beeper, or when the light goes off. There's supposed to be a beeper. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Depends on what it feels like. But this is what it looks like when it's full. Don't mind that right there. Yeah, like with the cross auger in there, not the bubble up auger. It doesn't fill evenly. It overloads this side. So, oh my, corn's pretty dry. So, alrighty, well, I guess I'll set you up here so you can watch it unload. Those people must be going elsewhere with their corn, because I'm just about gonna drive right through this place. You guys see anything? I can't see the snouts. So when it starts bending back and forth like that, jump up to the visor. Yeah, I can't really see anything that's going on down there. Hopefully nothing's wrong. There, that's a little bit better. You can see a little bit more. As you can tell, I got voted a grain cart operator for this evening. Just a little bit. We're just shelling a semi-load. Dad's down there at the what looks like the 12-0 and a wagon of some sort. We're not going to drive tonight. There's already 3 wagon loads in the overhead wet bin, and we're not going to start the dryer at 9 o'clock on a Saturday night. So we're just going to shell a little bit. Start to sit on the semi. Probably. I'm not sure. So, yeah, Tim and I got done for the evening, and I made my way over here, and now we're still going. So, make sure and stay up late with me this time around. So. To the top, I literally got her rim to rim all the way down. And that was the first time I've dumped. Well, yeah, I haven't dumped in that grain cart for very long. Drying corn, and it's going into a bin tonight. So I'm not sure which bin. I'm assuming this one because fan's on, but I could be wrong. So I think it has like around 15-ish more minutes to dump. So okay, so yeah, it's about 11:15. Tomorrow's church. I have to be there early. So yeah, today was a busy day, like I said multiple times. So yeah, thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, Kolbe out.